All right, y'all. Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. It feels like such a long time since I last been on here. It feels like longer than like a week. I know y'all last week it was a holiday, all of that. Your girl, I had to take a little break. And now we are back at it, doing the same, doing what we was doing before. As always, Mondays. I actually look forward to Monday evenings, not the mornings, but the evenings so we can get our Monday Night Live show popping. And I am really excited because tonight, y'all, we have a very special show, okay? Because usually, I talk about the foolery, the drama with the city and the county, which we can get to that next week. There's always content for that. But tonight, we are going to get into a very, very, very a great conversation with a special guest. Okay, y'all ready? Y'all ready for him? I am. I know I am. So, without further ado, y'all, please show some love. You can clap, you can snap, you can do whatever you want. To welcome the man himself, the treasurer for the city of St. Louis, Mr. Adam Layne. Yes, yes,
Hey,
yes.
Kelly. Hey, St. Louis.
I had to do it. I had to do it. I had to do it. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So, before we get into it, because we're going to talk about what you do and all that good stuff, but before we get into that, for the people out there on the internet that do not know who Adam Layne is, can you please let the people know who you are?
I can. That's a lot of the internet, actually, that don't know who I am. So I'm speaking to a lot of people. Good evening, everyone. My name is Adam Layne. I am the treasurer for the city of St. Louis. I've been the treasurer for 2 years, April 22nd, April 20th, that's when it was. April 20th, that just passed marks 2 years in the position. I've been with the city of St. Louis for about 4.5 years, I believe. 4.5 years, 3.5 years, one of the two. I've been with the city for a long time. No, 3.5 years, so since 2020. And yeah, I've been in St. Louis. I'm not a St. Louis native. I was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts, went to college in DC, and came to St. Louis after college in 2011. Been here ever since. So 12 years in the city of St. Louis. And all 12 of them in the city of St. Louis, no offense to the county people, but
It's, hey, it's
I had to make it known.
Yeah, all right, you had to make it known. But wow, okay, so Boston. Let me stop.
Right.
I'm not trying to be offensive here. So yeah, you've been here for a minute, and you've only been treasurer for 2 years.
Only 2 years. It feels like 20.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it does. And then COVID, just like that was that just sucked the time away. So thank you for providing that introduction, just so people were aware of who you are. Now you're a treasurer, which sounds cute. That sounds official. Sounds fancy. That's great. But what do you really do as a treasurer?
Yeah, so I'm essentially the people like to call me the money man for the city. We have a system of checks and balances, so we have a city treasurer and a comptroller that both deal with the money, and a budget director, but that's another story. But what I do is I'm like the banker for the city. The way I explain, I'm like the banker, and the comptroller is like the accountant. So if you have an accountant in your life, they tell you, here are all the items you need to spend this money on. Here are all your buckets and categories. When you go to the bank, they don't tell you how to spend your money. They just make sure you have enough in the account to pay what you need to pay for. So that's how I usually split up our roles. But we essentially do all the payments for the city from our treasury department. And I break it up into 3 places. So treasury is the first. Treasury operations and management is the first thing. So we pay everyone's paycheck. So we just make sure they get that paycheck on time, or else I get complaints. So they get their paycheck on time. We also pay the other city bills. So we will do the ACH, so the digital transactions, or cut those checks. That'll come from our department when it's time to pay for things. And then we also support the other departments in managing their bank accounts. So most departments have a fiscal person, but in terms of managing their bank account, we support with that. So making sure they're getting the best rates on, what they need to get, because most departments will have a savings account, checkings account, things like that. If they have more reserve cash, we try to make investments with that so they have better ways to grow their financial health. So yes, that's what we do, and then we also manage investments. So the city's investment account. So the city has about 700 million in investments right now, and that's grown significantly over the last few years with the strategy that we've taken. So that's been really, really good. Good for the city. So that's the treasury side. I have a lot of work. I do a lot of work. Here we go. So the next side is on financial empowerment. So my whole vision is that we have a city and its residents financially fit. And so what that means is just everyone should be living their best life financially, or have the tools, access, and capital to be able to do so. Yeah, so not just that the city has money, but the people in it have money and know how to use it well. So we do a lot of financial empowerment. We do whole home financial literacy. So we do financial literacy classes and events for the young people, as well as the adults. We help you get your credit score up, learn how to save, learn how to budget if you need that, set a plan for savings, set a plan for going to buy a house. So making sure people can do that. And then the third avenue is parking. So I also am the parking supervisor for the city. That falls under our purview. We manage about, in total, 15 garages and lots across the city, as well as on-street parking. So that means if you park at a meter, you pay the meter. You don't pay the meter. That's us, and you hear from from us on that. So those are the three realms of work that I'm in, and what I actually do as the treasurer. So with all those things, just a lot of emails, a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings, a lot of planning, a lot of programs to put in place, all of those things.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And wow, yeah, I'm like scribbling a couple notes over here. That is a lot.
It's quite a bit.
That is a lot. And
how busy,
what is do you have a big team? Do you have a big staff? Like
we have about 80 team members. My executive team is maybe 6, 7. 7 of us on there. So I have a really good team. I wouldn't say I have a huge team. Our parking team versus our treasury, it does vary. So we have more people on the parking side because, again, when you're managing a bunch of garages, we have 3,000 meter spaces on the street. There's a lot to manage. 10,000 meter spaces on the street. So there's a lot to manage there. So I have a relatively small staff, but a very mighty staff.
Are y'all hiring?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We have a few positions open. Go to stltreasurer.org/jobs. We need people.
Message. A lot of folks hiring out there. I'm just saying, put that plug out there. Put that plug. So first off, I appreciate you breaking down kind of what it is that you and your office does, which is quite a bit. I also appreciate you because I was going to ask what the difference between your office and the Comptrollers. So I appreciate you breaking that down for us, and just again thinking about this whole checks and balances thing throughout our government. We have a lot of processes and folks in different roles to make sure that everyone and everything is balanced, the checks and the balance. So thank you for breaking that down for us. Now, so you talked about your role with the treasurer, the coins. We got that. City's investments, great. We're looking good. That's great in the city. You talked about the Office of Financial Empowerment, which we will get to. But we gotta get into this parking, treasurer. We gotta get into this parking because this is a hot button topic. And one of my homegirl, Vanna, shout out to her. I don't know if she's listening, but she's always complaining to me because she's like, girl, I don't understand how y'all people in the city park like this. And I'm always getting parking tickets and blah, blah, blah. And I don't even like coming down here because y'all just be doing too much and people be doing too good of a job on that. So, but on a serious tip, you did provide the picture of the breadth of what the parking, what that consists of, 15 garages and lots. 10,000 parking meters.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So before I ask my one question, I kind of want to leave the floor open for you to provide to share any information you would like to dispel any rumors, dispel any cap that is floating around out there, because I know there's been a lot going on and happening, a lot of things in the media with regards to parking with your office. So you have the floor. What is it that you want to shed light on for folks to dispel any of the cap that's been out there?
Absolutely. And I was telling you earlier, like I make it a point to, even though we do a lot as an office, and I can say, all right, well, I'll just stay in the political realm, I'll just stay in the treasury realm. I do make it a point to know everything about my office, not to micromanage or anything, but just so that I'm in the know and I'm knowledgeable and I can advocate on the level that I need to for the needs of our office in relation to the needs of the city. So I say that to say I know way more about parking than I thought I ever would. I could probably change the outer housing and the inner software in a meter if I needed to. But yes, but actually parking conferences are actually kind of fun. But what I would say, like the top thing that I would want people to know, especially in the city of St. Louis, and your friend, you said Vanna, that was her name, and your friend Vanna, is that a lot of people think parking is it's a money grab. So it's a way for the city to just get our dollars. But parking itself is a service to the city, and it actually isn't funded by tax dollars, but it's funded by parking. But it's not a money grab. It's a way for us to make sure that there's safe, reliable parking in and around the city. Whether you're going to your favorite restaurant or you're just going to a grocery shop, parking is something that is essential for most major metropolitan cities. So it's not just a money grab. Actually, there are so many places where my pastor says humble, open, and transparent, which is the acronym there is HOT. But, full transparency, we have, what are those consultants that come in, they do a review. Most city departments do it and city offices do it. It's just good practice. So we have consultants that come in on a pretty regular basis on our parking division, and they ask us, like, why are you all charging such low rates for parking? And we always tell them, you should hear what the people of St. Louis are saying. But we actually try to keep our rates low, and we just want to make sure that we cover our costs, because we're not a for-profit entity. We're a city office, so we want to make sure, of course, costs are covered, but that there is safe, reliable parking. And for businesses, a lot of business owners, what they want to make sure that there is one parking in front of their business so people will come, but they also don't want the person that's just going to sit there or have their car sit in front of the business the entire time. But meters actually help to create that turnover. So I just want people to know that we're not trying to gouge people for money. Our parking enforcement team that are out there on the streets, they do not get bonuses for how many tickets they write.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that?
There are no commissions. They're just very well trained and very good at their job and very passionate about what they do.
I still think they got some of them. I mean, they are really good. Shout out to the
They're great. They're great.
Park enforcement folks. Shout out to them. They be on their job.
They do.
So it's interesting. So you said that parking is not a money, it's not a money grab, and that's what a lot of people explain. And so I'm gonna play the other side of the argument here, right? Mm-hmm. So indulge me here, especially folks. I know quite a few folks that are city employees, and they feel a whole type of a way because they feel like, my paycheck's kind of light, and my already light paycheck, most of that coin is going because I got to pay parking. And they feel like, again, that that the city's profiting off of them. So can you speak to the parking situation for employees? And also, well, I got another question after that, but can you speak to that employee? If I was an employee and I expressed that to you, what would you say to me?
Yeah. So I would say I understand. I get it. I'm working in city government myself. Before I got to city government, I was in mostly nonprofit work. I remember I was in the United Way building, wasn't working for the United Way, but a nonprofit in there. And we also had to pay for parking. And I was on a nonprofit program manager program manager salary. So I get it. I will say this. I'll start with the empathetic side. There were talks, and I hope this does go through. Like parking, and especially parking for employees, can be, an employee benefit, and not all, but some employers will pay that. So, in a lot of our garages, we actually lease out spaces to companies, and their employees actually pay. So, with some companies, we see that they'll cover that cost as an employee benefit. Some don't. Most actually don't. But with that, we know that we understand and we want people to feel like their city and their city offices and their city officials care about them. So we're hoping that there's a bill that we can support in the public employees personnel department so that this can be an actual city benefit, because it does cost to maintain parking. There's a great article out there, journal, research paper, whatever it is, and it's called the cost of free parking, which I encourage everyone to read, in my unbiased opinion. But yeah, so that's something that I think the city is going to continue to explore, to say, like, how can we make this a benefit for all employees and roll it into the benefits, and the city just foots the cost for it to make sure that we can upkeep the lot, and make sure that there's, again, ample, safe, secure parking for everyone.
Yeah, and that was going to be like my second or follow-up question, was if there was any consideration rolling it into benefits for employees. I mean, I just think that would be a great draw with retention, recruitment too. So fingers and toes crossed. We can kind of keep the momentum going from there. So hopefully, my friends, I hope y'all listening to this, even if you're not listening to it right now, listen to the playback. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it here first. There are efforts to really try to help city employees. So appreciate that response. All right. So, I listened to, and I was telling you, I think when we first met, like, I listened to all these meetings, Treasurer Layne, all of these Board of Alderman meetings. I know, bless it. And we're in the thick of budget season. So, all the departments, including yours, had to, present your proposed budget to the full board aldermen, say, hey, this is what we're working with, and also identify, any additional needs or whatever it is. And board aldermen could ask their questions to get a better understanding of your budgets. And I actually like listening to the hearings, even though I'm multitasking, but it provides me a better understanding of how the departments, like, what they really do. So if folks have the time to, I know it can get a little blah, y'all. I know it can, but I've learned so much listening to some of these budget hearings about what our different departments in our city does. And something that I learned was that you all are involved in the booting. Your office is involved in the booting and towing of vehicles. So can you speak to this? Because that got a little, people's like, oh wait, we starting this up again. So can you speak to that effort in your office? And yeah, I got a follow-up question after that, but can you speak to that?
For sure, I can. So yeah, so that is something that is a responsibility of the treasurer's office, partially. So I will clarify two things, because this is all about learning, and a lot of people think, one, that parking tickets are criminal offenses and that they can get a warrant issued for it, and they're not paying their tickets. They're going to show up to pay them because they're dodging warrants, and they're calling me frantic saying, oh, I didn't know I had to pay it in 30 days and now I don't want a warrant out for my arrest. You cannot be arrested for a parking ticket. Let me just put that out there. It's not a criminal offense.
Y'all heard that you cannot be arrested. Y'all heard that. Okay.
Yeah. Now the second thing is, we only do parking tickets. So if you got a speeding ticket, don't come to us. We can't help you with that. Now those are
that's a whole other level. That is a whole other level.
So I say that to say, so yeah, it's that's not with us. Now with the parking tickets, and to your point about booting and towing, if you get 3 or more tickets that have all tripled, so that means you're past the 90 days or the first 30, and then the subsequent, or the first 30, subsequent 45. So 3 tickets that have all tripled, that's when you are eligible to get a boot on your car. And then anything higher than that. So that makes you boot eligible. So again, if you get 1 ticket, don't say we put a boot on your car, because that was not us. That might have been for something else, but that is not us. So it has to be 3 tickets that have all tripled. And so we try to make it as easy as possible for people to pay. They can come down to our parking violations bureau. They can pay it online. They can, online and electronically. They can pay by phone. So we try to make it easy for folks to pay tickets. And again, a expired meter ticket is $20. The other side, and we do boot. So we have not booted in about a little over 4 years. So we really stopped during the pandemic for a couple of reasons. And maybe this is a future show, but there was an investigation going on with the tow lot with a former alderman who's not an alderman anymore. But yeah, so we were like, well, we're not going to restart booting and towing until that's finished, because we don't own the tow lot. So we don't manage that. All we do is we just have, we can put boots on cars, but the streets department also can as well. Or the streets department can tow cars. They can't put boots on it. So yeah, we do all the booting. But I have actually, I've seen some boots in the downtown area. We don't know what they're for, and people thought we were doing it, but we weren't. But yes, I don't know whose boots they were. Maybe they were personal boots. But we will begin booting and towing again. So we're restarting that, and that will be July 1st.
All right, y'all heard that. Y'all heard that here.
July 1st.
1. So
and everyone who's on that list, or the eligibility list for booting and towing, has been sent notices, and we will continue to send the notices and then engage the public too.
Okay, good. I'm happy to hear that there is an actual campaign around that, because
and strategy, because we're building equity into it. Like, I know during the pandemic, we stopped booting and towing. We also had amnesty and ticket forgiveness programs. And then we introduced the payment plan too, because, we want to enforce the parking is written into city, law ordinance. We want to make sure we're enforcing that, but we know we can be human as well. So with that, we instituted the payment plans, and when we're booting and towing, we're not going to start again. It's not the person with 1 ticket, but we also, because we want people to have mobility. We don't know everyone's situation, and we don't want to make sure that one demographic is overrepresented, I will say, and people who need to get to where they need to get to can't do that. So we're letting everybody know we're having programs, like I said, and things where people can get on a payment plan, reduce their balance, all of those things. We want people to move around St. Louis.
Facts. And I appreciate you speaking to, again, you mentioned your office is building equity into what is it you're doing. You laid it out in a tangible sense. Like, this is how we're doing it. We're working with folks, again, on a payment plan option. I mean, I think that is very extremely helpful for folks, because obviously, there are different reasons as to why people aren't able to pay those tickets and things. So that's good to know. But I'll be, again, and I'm also happy to hear y'all have the strategy developed to just let people know that you will be starting this program back again. Let's get into something just a little bit, I don't want to say more fun, but like I feel like it's a little, we're gonna bring it up a little bit. We're gonna bring the energy up a little bit. Can you please get into the Office of Financial Empowerment? Because I know you mentioned this when you were breaking down the structure of your office, and obviously making sure the city handles its coins and spends responsibly, and also making sure that as residents we do the same. So can you speak to how your Office of Financial Empowerment, like, how does it do that with supporting, empowering residents financially in the city of St. Louis?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Office of Financial Empowerment was started by the former treasurer and our now mayor, Tashara Jones. And it was really in response to a bunch of different economic statistics, especially concerning low to moderate income Black and Brown folks in the city of St. Louis and other areas that are like it. One of the biggest things that we saw was that St. Louis had one of the highest concentrations of unbanked or underbanked Black families. And when you are not banked, when you're not banked, you probably are missing other things, which are skills around finances, how to manage your own finances, how to build financial wealth. There probably is a lot of that missing. So, what our Office of Financial Empowerment tries to do is create those avenues to economic empowerment so that everyone can live their a life of financial dignity. And when I say whole home, we start with the kids. So we have a program called the College Kids Program. We start a college savings account for every student once they enter a St. Louis public school. So any free public education in the city of St. Louis, once they enter kindergarten, we start an account. We put the first $50 in that account, and that $50 comes from parking tickets. So if you got a ticket and
So
you
can
paid
you
it,
say that? Can you repeat that again, please, for the people to hear that?
so we put money into students' college accounts from parking tickets. So you're helping the babies go to college. Yeah. So we do that. And then they actually complete financial literacy activities. We go to school and read about financial literacy and do activities there. And by learning, they earn. So they get money into their account from us. And we do that because statistics show that students with at least $500 saved for college are 3 times more likely to go to college and 4 times more likely to graduate from college. So even though we understand everyone doesn't want to go to college, you don't know if you want to go or not in kindergarten, but we can increase the likelihood that those students, if they choose to go to college, are successful in that with, in addition to the work our school districts are doing, in addition to the work our leadership and college access programs are doing, want to do that too.
So this is an automatic
Mhm.
enrollment.
Yep.
Is it specific to SLPS or any public school
Yep.
or
So
open
any
public
free
school?
public schools, so those are, well, in the city of St. Louis now are just SLPS and charter schools. Mhm.
Okay. Oh
Yep.
wow.
Yep. Yep. And so we open up for all those kids and families. And to your point, yes, it's automatically. So what we do is we have MOUs with the school districts and the schools, and they'll send us their roster, and it's opened up in their name, and it's tied to their DESE, Department of Education. What's the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, Department of Education. We have that's what their account is tied to, so it's opened in their name, and it grows in their name, and then it's again their money when they graduate. Some of the criticism is that, well, why do you open all the accounts at once for the kids instead of just letting them enroll? Now they say you're going to have low enrollment rates, so to speak, or activity rates. But we understand that this is something that we're designing for St. Louis. We know that families move around a lot. We know that we have a lot of new parents who are just trying to figure out kindergarten, let alone this college access program. They're not thinking about college and kindergarten. So we open those accounts in that way because we know families will move schools. Sometimes records get lost, things happen. But once we enroll them, we know that we've gotten these students at this point, these families at this point, where if they come back to us in 2 years, in 7 years, and say, hey, I just found out about this program, it's like, cool, we have the account ready for you. And here's how you can get started on your financial savings journey, for college.
Wow. And I'm sure a lot of people are not familiar with
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
at all. I mean, I guess because you said you have your office works with school districts, you have this through MOU agreements.
Mhm.
Do they inform the parents about
Mhm.
this?
Yeah, they're supposed to, and I think we really do like our partners at our schools, and they do. But it's tough, especially in our public schools where families don't engage the way that some families, not all, but some families don't engage with the school as much as they need to. Families change as well. Maybe it was the mom in kindergarten that was the one that was primarily responsible for the education things, and now it's switched to dad or switched to aunt, switched to grandma. So we know these are the things that plague, our systems of public education. But it all depends. So we might meet someone at an event, like at the Annie Malone parade, while we're tabling there, and they find out about it there. So our schools, they do promote. We're on their sites as well. We send out mailings and newsletters. But that's why I like going to read to the students in school so much, because we actually send them home with the information and a couple other toys and trinkets too, so that families can say, what is this? Let me find out more. Let me go to the website. Let me pick up the phone. So yeah. So when we open it in kindergarten, it gives them essentially 13 years, K through 12, but 13 years to be able to take advantage.
Oh, wow. And so I understand the purpose of it is just to make sure that there is that financial support for education beyond, K through 12. However, are there ways that the student can spend that money on certain things? Is that an option as well?
Yep, great question. So, college kids is cute. It's a catchy name. But if we were really talking about the essence of the program, it's a program that helps students get ready for whatever they do in their post-secondary success. So whatever avenue that is, so they can pay for 2-year college, 4-year college. They can, if they're going to a technical or trade school, they can do that. So it might be, I got to pay my tuition there. I got to buy my tools there, whatever it may be. And then, let's say someone wants to be an entrepreneur out of high school, and I don't know, they're a professional DJ and it's going to buy turntable equipment, whatever is going towards their post-secondary pursuits. And one of the things that I had thought of, and we're adding this into our policy too, is allowing it for, there are always these college enrichment programs, and some of them do cost. So if a student's in 8th grade and they have $700 saved up in their account already, this program costs $200 and the family just doesn't have that. This is something that could also be spent on that, because it's increasing their post-secondary success.
Wow, that would be a game changer. So you said you're working on that policy. Okay, because that would be a game changer. I mean, this program, I think is dope. But I think that would really support the enrichment of our young people and families, because a lot of these opportunities ain't free and ain't cheap. And we got to invest in our future. Wow. So, okay, college kids, cool. In addition to that, what other offerings does the Office of Financial Empowerment provide to residents?
Yeah, so we do a lot. We do a lot for the adults. We can all probably list the many financial mistakes we've made in our life, but there's always an opportunity you're never too late to start moving up on your financial journey. And that's what we talk to people. We'll have people who are opening bank accounts for the first time at 34 years old. That actually happened a couple of weeks ago, and that's okay. So we try to take that I said that dignity piece earlier. We want to make sure that that dignity is infused and take the shame out of whatever situation you may have been in because of generational conversations or lack thereof around finances that did not work. So we do one-on-one credit counseling. So that is to help get your credit score up, dispute anything that might be on your credit score. Again, sometimes people are just seeing their credit score for the first time. And that's where we start as the basis of just understanding what it is in a worry-free space. We do that. It's free, offered at City Hall. And it's one-on-one. So we do that. And then we also do classes we do credit classes as well, savings, learning about credit and credit cards and how to best optimize your credit cards if you have them, and just strategize around that. Debt reduction. You're buying your first car, buying your second car, buying your first home, all of that, as well as direct. We use our Office of Financial Resource as like a hub as well, to bring in resources that we can connect other people to, because we don't do everything. But if it's like, all right, you want to buy your first house, let's talk about credit here, and we're going to send you here to learn more about this, or get this assistance and that down payment and all that stuff.
Shoot, I'm have to check y'all out for
Come on in.
real.
Come
Because
on in.
so how can we? I'm assuming like we can go onto the site
Mhm.
to
Yep.
your office to access what these offerings are. And if I'm correct, all of these programs are free 99, right?
All of them are free 99, and sometimes, depending on the program, we might even throw in lunch. So
Oh snap!
there
Oh,
you go.
wow.
Yep, and there we have our online calendar, which will show our upcoming events, and that's stlofe.org. So stlofe.org, St. Louis Office of Financial Empowerment.org, and you can find them. We're on Facebook as well. And then if you go to stltreasurer.org, it'll direct you to that. You can get to that site from there. Or just stop by City Hall. Room
Awesome.
Office 220, our Office of Financial Empowerment's right there. And our staff is there to support.
Y'all heard, pull up, pull up. I wanted to share shout out Miss Sharon Childs. Your office is a blessing to many. So she's saying that she is sharing to her Facebook page to, oh my gosh, the Missionary Baptist State Convention of Missouri East Region Group. All right, and folks, they don't be playing when they talk about they sharing it, especially to Missionary Baptist State Convention of Missouri East. Wow. Region Group, that's a lot. So
Yes.
thank you, Miss Sharon, for that. Thank you for sharing as well. I am for people again out there. This is where you can head to find the information. Sorry, that was my phone. Oh, my bad. Sorry. I'm not that important, I promise. But so this is the website as well for folks if they want to plug in and participate in those free 99 programs. Plus, hey, there may be a lunch thrown in there too. And don't be scared. Y'all can roll up to City Hall too. Yes. Very good info. Thank you, Alan. Thank you for tuning in, Alan. Shout out to him for hopping on. And of course, Miss Sharon, of course. So, another thing, because y'all do so much. You all do so much at the Treasury
I be working.
Clearly. Clearly. So in addition to all of those other things that we mentioned, y'all are involved in ARPA programming too, like managing some of the programs. So
Yep.
so for people out there that are not aware, ARPA stands for American Rescue Plan Act, and I've talked about this at length, Treasurer Layne, for the past like 2 years, like dead ass, because people weren't aware of these resources that were available to various entities, nonprofits, schools, and our government entities. And so the city of St. Louis received about $500 million. I know one of the programs that were approved by the Board of Aldermen, I think that was last year, and your office was involved, was with the Direct Cash Assistance Program. So for people out there, the $500 checks, that's what I'm talking about. So the treasurer's office, I know, was involved in supporting that effort as well. And I tell people all of the time, please go online to check out, because there is actually a report that lays out, who received the $500 one-time payments, what they spent the coins on. Like, so I always tell people the information is there, it's out there. So definitely check that out, because I've had some interesting conversations in community about that program, which, I thought that was cool. But something else that we discussed with Alderwoman Clark Hubbard last year was a bill that she was sponsored that included an allocation of $5 million in ARPA coins to pilot a guaranteed basic income program in the city of St. Louis. And this ain't new. So she came on, she kind of broke it down a little bit to us about what this pilot program, what it entails and kind of what it looks like. Because other countries, not other countries, other cities in our country, and other countries, but in the US, other cities have done this. So this ain't nothing new, right? So really quickly though, could you speak to just provide a general overview for folks that maybe weren't tapped into our conversation with Alderwoman Clark Hubbard in December? Like, what is a guaranteed basic income? Like,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
Yeah. And so guaranteed, well, let me say this first. In addition to the enough work that I have to do, I'll often get tapped into things like this. So this isn't just, oh, yeah, the treasurer's office does this, but and what I believe to be true is just departments being able to collaborate to put something good and say, all right, where does it make sense for us to work here? So been in collaboration on this and some other things too. But guaranteed basic income is essentially a check from the government. So it might be from your federal government, might be from your local government. That goes to a person that just says, we understand that there is a certain threshold of financial capacity that a family might have, that that an individual might have, and we believe that we should be able to supplement that due to economic factors or just as a basic human right in our jurisdiction. So that's essentially what guaranteed basic income, the thought behind it. What it is in practice is you get a check. So this program that we're working on right now, since it's a pilot, it's terminal, but for 18 months, everyone in the program, each household will get, or each person will get $500 every month for 18 months that they can do whatever they want with. And that's guaranteed basic income.
So y'all will be involved. Your office
Yeah.
will be involved in this effort. Is there anything you can share as far as like where we are with the rollout of this program?
Yep. So we're in the planning stages, and I'm in the meetings myself, and we're talking about everything. And again, that's why I think it's so important about who your city officials are, because not just getting the bill passed, but when it comes to how to serve people and people that need it the most, it really doesn't matter who's making those decisions. But we're in the planning stages. We've been meeting every single week since, I believe, February. January, on this, once it got approved. And so that's between my office right now and the mayor's office. So we're working on the rollout. It's going to serve about 440 families for the pilot. We were allocated $5 million to be able to execute the program. So 440, I say families, but thinking about it as a household, but 440 people will get $500 a month for the next 18 months. What we're going to be doing is tracking just what people are using it on, because as a pilot, and we're not going to be Big Brother about it. So we're not going to say, all right, you bought these diapers, these Huggies for $4.99. You should have got the Pampers. No, we're not going into that much detail. But one of the things that we want to see is, where are people's needs and how is it helping them to be more how is it allowing them to gain more economic upward mobility? So we'll be looking at certain spending categories. So for example, let's say that it's a lot of utilities. So are you paying down back utilities, or are utilities just high in general? And seeing how being able to get maybe utility assistance as a city service, or figuring out, like legislators figuring out ways to reduce or put pressure to reduce utility costs maybe, or those are things that we can use to better inform how we serve people. So we'll be looking at that data. And then my hope is that this continues. I think guaranteed basic income is necessary and needed. We see what's going on with our market right now. Costs are going up. Costs feel like they're always going up. But if you got eggs and gas go up in the same month, it's like something's got to give. So I am hoping that this is something that the city really considers putting into our annual budget for every year, and for more St. Louisans. That's what I hope.
Yeah, I just really want people to understand, y'all, this is a pilot program. Okay, y'all, pilots. Okay, they testing it out. We testing it out to get a sense of, again, what are the needs of residents, and how this impacts. And also our legislators, they'll be peeping, they'll be saying again, and use this information to inform their
Mhm.
efforts as
Yeah.
legislators.
Yes.
So
Oh,
I
and then, oh, and I
no,
was just going to say, timeline wise, I didn't answer the end question. So the launch date is the fall, and we're focusing on families that do have school age children, just to see what the maximum impact on that would be.
okay.
Mhm.
So y'all heard it. And where can people be kept up to date about the rollout of the program, and also, if they want to apply to
Mhm.
pay?
Yeah, and so the you can find out more about the program, how it's executed, the purpose of it, and what's it for on the St. Louis City website, so stlouis-mo.gov. If you go to departments, it'll be in the or departments programs. I forget which one it is, but if you search for it, GBI, it'll come up.
Okay. All
And
right.
there's a landing page, and we'll update that data as we go.
Okay, cool. I just, I'll be like, and, you know, feed people so
Mhm,
that they know, where to go and
mhm.
around what time frame. So thank you for laying that out. And I was just, like I said, I remember having the conversation with Alderwoman Clark Hubbard on our platform, and just happy to see that it was passed. So we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
Uh,
the thing that always got me was, and it happened with the direct cash, not as much as, well,
oh,
still with this one, but some people were like, "Oh, what's $500 gonna do for people?" It's like, "Oh,
yeah, I'm
well,"
like, shoot,
right.
come on, think about that.
And so I'm like, "Oh, so you wanna give them more?" And they're like, "No, we don't wanna do it at all. So $500 can't do nothing. Let's give them 0." I just don't get it. They say that about our college kids' accounts. "Oh, what's $50 gonna do for what's 5?" So you wanna give them more? No, let's give them nothing. But
Makes
yes.
absolutely no sense.
Sure.
But I'm happy we are moving. We got the pilot project, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that rolls out. Is there anything else, Treasurer, that you would like to mention
Mhm.
before we wrap up? Anything else that we didn't talk about?
Yeah, so we always have a lot of events. I would say it feels like it maybe to me, but we have some things coming up. I want to let people know that I try to be as accessible as possible. So email me, call me. That's important because we do want to hear from people, and we don't assume that we do everything right. We just try to do it the best we can, but or I wouldn't say right. We don't assume that our way is the best way, but we also want to work with communities, work with people to say, all right, what's working for you, what's not working for you, and can we make it work for us? So parking is something that a lot of people have issues with, especially in the downtown area. So we're going to be doing a series of parking town halls, and our first one is for the downtown. Yeah, so the first one is for the downtown area, so it'll be the downtown town hall. That's a whole different thing. Some people are mad about this $5 event parking, and I just wanted to go in and get a soda. And what if I'm only there for 16 seconds? All this other stuff. So we're gonna air that out. So we'll have that on June 16th. It'll be again for folks who live in and around the downtown area. It will be at actually I forgot what time it's at, but I will find that time and get back to you. It'll be in the evening on June 13th at the Central Library downtown. So I'll be sharing a little bit more about the myths of parking and why we have parking and the need for it. And that'll be brief, but then I also want to hear people's comments, concerns, complaints, everything. So if there are suggestions that we're like, oh, we have not heard that before, but we think that can work. We want to do what works for neighborhoods in our communities when it comes to parking. So we're always willing to listen. Now you might not like the answer all the time, but we are we are willing to listen, talk, and implement things that work.
So
Five to
5 to 7 on the
seven.
13th.
Okay, 5 to 7. I
Um, and
said it must be true.
And I am going to, I'll definitely, or if you all can send me that information somehow so I
Handy.
can be sure to share it when I do my little summary recap post,
Mhm,
so the folks are aware. Do you know? So this will be the first
mhm.
of other town halls?
Yes, and because different areas have different
Mhm.
concerns. I think in my think too much brain, or yeah, I'm thinking there are probably going to be just multiple downtown town halls.
Yeah.
But yeah, but we're going to go down to different neighborhoods. Some neighborhoods don't even have any parking meters. We get requests like, hey, we need more meters here, or we need meters here at all. So just want people to know, and I let people know, like, there are times where the sign has been faded, but no one reports it. So or they don't know how. So it's going to be an education piece. But so yeah, we want to go citywide and see what our neighborhoods are seeing in terms of parking and make sure that they feel heard.
Oh wow. I'm like, I'm like gagging over here. I'm like, damn, like a parking town hall. Like when you said it, I'm like, what the hell? Am I hearing that correctly?
Oh yeah.
But I think that is, you know what? That's admirable. That's admirable. I gotta say, because because y'all are taking it to the people. Again, to your point, just to hear, like you can't be everywhere
Yeah.
all the time. So be directly with the people, to speak with them, shed light, provide information, and also get their feedback and hear some of their ideas to make things better for everyone in the city, or their experiences with parking. I think that's really wow. Yeah, I'm shocked. Like I don't even know where to go with that, but I think that's really important. I think that's huge.
And at the event, we're providing up to $100 in ticket forgiveness too.
Oh snap! Yo, I'm sorry that like came out of
Forgot to
nowhere.
mention that part.
Yeah, y'all better put that on some. Wait, say that. Can you repeat that? Because I'm gonna
Right.
put this. I'm gonna chop this up and I'm gonna put this on a reel. So
Okay.
can you repeat that, please?
Yes. So on June 13th, on June 13th from 5 to 7, we're having a parking town hall for the downtown neighborhood. And anyone who attends gets up to $100 forgiven in any parking tickets and fines they have.
Thank you. Message. You made my reel, because I try to do the little recaps and post them like, what's gonna be the big clicker. Thank you, Treasurer Layne. You made my job so much easier to do, because people are that's gonna go viral. Cool. So thank you for that, and I appreciate y'all's office. I mean, it seems like you're trying to literally meet the people where they are, and that is one hell of an incentive to bring people out. Okay, one hell of an incentive. So we discussed a lot tonight. One takeaway. Any one thing that you want folks to walk away with after listening to our conversation tonight?
Just one thing? I do a lot of
things. Just one thing. Yep.
Your treasurer's office is here to serve you in many ways, from parking to economic mobility, from adults to children.
Just drop the mic right there. Well, thank you again, because you and your team are doing all of the things clearly. So thank you so much, Treasurer Layne, for hopping on our platform and providing some really useful information. Seriously. Like I said, those comments, I'm sure people are going to be really watching this conversation. You provided a lot of information, dispelled some cap, and also just kind of, I feel like at least express to people that you all are trying to, again, literally meet people where they are. I think sometimes, as a city resident, and I can say this as myself, sometimes it feels like our local government does not hear us, and we are not heard, we are not acknowledged, and it seems that you all are at least trying to hear and meet us halfway and serve us, because that's what y'all are supposed to do.
That's a job.
That's what you're supposed to do. And yes, Miss Sharon, knowledge is power. Yes, that's what we're all about. So before we wrap up tonight, I do Transform 314. We have one special announcement. Even though it's not exciting as the Parking Townhalls, but we will have our next community meetup at the Julia Davis Library on Saturday, June 24th, 10 a.m. Y'all know I got breakfast for you. We have some exciting updates to share with Transform 314 as far as how we gonna get into some action. I know we've had some really awesome community engagement, a lot of folks coming out and participating when we're talking about what our local government does and how it impacts us and all those things. And people are like, yo, we want some action. We want to do something. So let's make it happen, y'all. So please come to the Julia Davis Library Saturday, June 24th. You can register on an Eventbrite, and obviously I will be promoting this on our social media platforms so people can tap in, be engaged, and it's time for us to get to this work, y'all. So thank you for tuning in. Please be safe out there, and we will be back next week talking our usual foolery. And it's already a lot of action going on, y'all. I done read some communications in St. Louis County. Some man done called the county executive page, literally say he was on some bullshit. His words. So I can say that it is on public record. So we will have a hell of a show for you next week, I'm sure. But until then, y'all, please be safe out there and see you next week. Peace.